Hello everyone. So now we will start with the practical aspect of factor analysis. Just like PCA, even in factor analysis, if all the variables are expressed in the same unit, then we go for factor analysis based on covariance matrix. However, if the variables have different units, then we go for factor analysis based on correlation matrix. So, and that's a general rule of thumb. It's not hard and fast. Definitely, if you have different variables, you should go for correlation matrix. However, even if you have sometimes variables which are measured in same units, if you feel that the results are better using correlation matrix, you can go for correlation matrix. Same story applies with the principal component analysis. Okay. Now, here we have one example. In a consumer preference study, a random sample of customers were asked to rate several attributes. What are those attributes? Taste means whether how was the taste of that new product. Good buy for money, so whether the product seemed like a good buy for the money. How is the flavor? Is it suitable for snack, and does it provide lot of energy? Okay, and the correlation matrix is provided. You might have noticed this in PC also. For just getting the principal components, we don't need data. We just have to have the covariance matrix and correlation matrix. When we go one step further and when we want score plot etc., for computing the scores, we need the actual data. Okay. So now let us try to get the factors from this data. So we'll use this correlation matrix in Minitab to do factor analysis. So let me first import this matrix. So we'll read this matrix from file. So it's a 5 cross 5 matrix. So number of rows is 5, number of columns is 5. We can give name to this matrix, say M1, and read from file. If we do read from keyboard, we'll have to enter manually. But I've stored it in some text file, so we'll use it. Right now it is not showing any files because it is searching for the files of the type .dat, but I have stored the matrix as a txt file. See, it is showing us 5 rows red into matrix M1. So let us try to see how the matrix looks by writing print M1. So print M1 with small p, print with small p, space M1 would display the matrix. See, this is the matrix. Okay. And now we'll carry out factor analysis on it. So we go to stat, multivariate, factor analysis. We don't have data now. Data is unknown to us. In the options, we have source of matrix. Okay. So use matrix, we will choose this M1 matrix. It's a correlation matrix. Okay. And number of factors to extract, right now we will say 5 because we have 5 variables and we don't know how many factors are going to be important. And method of extraction can be principal components or maximum likelihood. Generally principal component would be okay. If you have normally distributed data, then you can go for maximum likelihood method. Right now let us not go into the graphs. Okay. So see, because we have taken all 5 factors, my commonalities are 1. Okay, commonality was the common variation explained by the common factors, and it was part of the actual individual variations, sigma jj square. Here we are using correlation matrix and we know diagonal entries of a correlation matrix are 1. So communality is 1 means specific variance is 0. So because we are using number of factors equal to number of variables, complete variation is expressed by the common factors. But as we said, we want a few underlying factors. So we want to reduce the dimension. So we generally go for 2, 3 factors, etc. So the percentage of variation explained by each factor is given here. Okay. So here, for first factor explains roughly 57.1% variation. Second factor explains 36.1 variation, whereas rest of the 3 factors have very minimal contribution, 4%, 2% and 0.7%. So we can say only first 2 factors are enough. So we will go for number of factors to extract as 2. Okay. And now you can see the communality is changing. So communalities are now less than 1. Okay. In a correlation matrix, we should compare communalities to 1. In a covariance matrix, we should compare communalities to the individual variances. So first communality with sigma 1 1 square, second communality with sigma 2 2 square, third communality with sigma 3 3 square, and so on. Okay. Now here, this is 979, which means that the first variable is very, almost completely explained by the common factors, 97.9%. How do you compute this as percentage? This communality divided by sigma 1 1 square. Then second communality divided by sigma 2 2 square. So here, because we are using correlation matrix, all the sigma i's are 1. So these can be treated as percentages. So among these 5, second variable is least explained by the common factors, because for second variable communality is 0.879, smallest. Okay. Again, it is correlation matrix, so I can say directly with smallest communality. In covariance matrix, you have to divide by the respective sigma ii squares. Okay. Total variation explained by the factor model is 93.2%. But as of now, I cannot, here see variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are loadings. Okay, this is a loading matrix. You can see here unrotated factor loadings and communalities. So in loading matrix, almost every variable has equal contribution from factor 1. So I cannot really name factor 1 because it is affecting every variable. Okay. So there is something called as rotation. So this rotation is done. Rotation is again changing your original coordinates by rotating them orthogonally. So this rotation is done in order to get more interpretable result. Okay. So whatever results you have, you rotate those loading loading coefficients, and try to get better interpretation. In the sense, you try to get clear groups of variables where one group is affected more by one factor, other group is affected more by other factor, and so on. So here there are different types of rotations: equimax, varimax, quartimax, orthomax, etc. For orthomax we have to specify a gamma parameter. So let me try varimax rotation. Okay. So now when you carry out rotation, there are two types of loadings. Unrotated loadings are again displayed, and then the rotated loadings are displayed. So these are the rotated loadings, and now see the coefficients have changed. Now variable 1 has almost no contribution from factor 1. Similarly, variable 3 also has very low concentration from factor 1. Comparatively, variables 2, 4 and 5 have quite a good contribution from factor 1. I'm sorry, let me try to increase the font size. So you can see here variable 2, variable 4 and variable 5 have significantly higher contribution from factor 1, and in factor 2 variable 1 and variable 3 have very factor 2 affects variable 1 and 3 very significantly, whereas others comparatively have less role. Variable 4 has variable 4 is affected up to some extent by factor 2. So let me see what are the variables. So in first factor I want 2, 4 and 5. So 2, 4 and 5 are 2 is good buy for money, 4 is suitable for snack, and 5 is provides lot of energy. So this first factor kind of talks about the economy and worth of that product. Is it worth the money? Is it suitable as a snack? Means is it doing the job that it is intended to do, and does it provide energy? Okay, because then only people will buy it. Whereas the second factor has more influence on taste, flavor, and up to some influence on suitable for snack. So second factor is mainly related to the appeal of it in terms of taste. How is the taste? How is the flavor? And if taste and flavor are good, then it's going to have some appeal as a snack. Okay. It is going to have more appeal as a snack than just purely something which provides energy but not good in taste. Okay. So the first factor worries about its economy and health benefits, whereas second factor worries about its appeal as a good food, a yummy food. Okay, not just food. So these types of things can be interpreted. Let us go to one more example. Now this is the data on Olympics. Okay, so different events at Olympics. So we have recorded scores of some players in different events. So 100-meter run, long jump, shot put, high jump, 400-meter run, hurdles, discus throw, pole vault, javelin, okay, and 1500-meter run. And using these scores, we try to see what are the common factors that those affect these scores. So let me go to some of the things which we did not do in the example that we saw just now. So we can have a score plot. Okay, there we did not have this is loadings plot. Okay, loadings plot. So loadings plot can give me more interesting insight. So in the loadings plot you can see that shot put and discus throw are kind of together. Shot put and discus throw are together means both of these are probably affected in a similar manner by factor 1 and factor 2. Okay, because shot put and discus throw are similar events. Shot put is, in both these events you're involved in some sort of throwing things, so the strength of your arm is going to come in picture. Okay, similarly javelin, high jump, pole vault, so some of these things are related. This is unrotated. In rotated you will get even better picture. Okay, so in rotated again, see, you have shot put, discus throw together. Javelin is now slightly towards shot put, discus throw, but more towards pole vault, high jump. So pole vault and high jump would require good leg strength. Similarly in long jump, okay, hurdles would require your body to be flexible, etc. So these things can be interpreted using factor analysis. Okay, so let me show you the factors. Okay, see, these are now rotated factor loadings, the loadings that we saw just now. So in factor 1, 100-meter run has the highest importance, and second importance is 400-meter run. Okay, and then up to some extent long jump. Okay, up to some extent long jump. So these are related to, so 100-meter and 400-meter are generally related to running speed. Okay, so factor 1 can probably be something like speed of a person. Okay, in factor 2, shot put, then discus throw, and up to some extent javelin and pole vault. So factor 2 is more like arm strength. In factor 3, 400-meter run, that is has high coefficient, and 1500-meter run. So for 400 and 1500-meter run, if you compare 100-meter run with 1500-meter run, what is the difference? In 1500 meters also speed is important, but more importantly, you need to retain your strength till the end. You cannot give up in between. Okay, in 100-meter the race is going to get over soon, so speed is enough. Whereas in 1500-meter and up to some extent in 400-meter, you need endurance. Okay. So such type of interpretations can be given. The next example is quite interesting. We have used, it's a study from music field. So they have collected data on people from different age groups and different musical abilities. Some are professional artists, some are amateur artists, and some are not at all related to music. And they have collected data on such sentences. So are they always looking for new music? Do they inform themselves about the music they like, etc.? Do they get emotional while listening to music, etc.? And using those, they have come up with these 5 factors. So let me go to the factors. So one factor is musical seeking behavior. So there is a group of people who would have very high readings on this factor. So they are always looking for new music. Then there is emotional evocation. So people who feel emotional connection to music. Then mood regulation. So people who use music mainly for relaxation, eliminating loneliness, etc. Then there is another group which might have more on sensory motor. So sensory motor means they are dancing to the music, tapping to the music, humming to the music. And then there are some people who use music as a social reward. So it's an opportunity to connect with other people, etc. And they could see that there was an interesting scenario. For example, musical seeking behavior, it goes on decreasing with age. And we know that is true. The younger generation is more interested into the latest music. Okay, so the musical seeking behavior, so they computed average score for each age group on this factor. Okay, so musical seeking behavior, so it goes on decreasing. Okay, on the other hand, this sense, in fact almost everything goes on decreasing except for the other two. This sensory motor, there is a slight peak towards end, and even the mood regulation, there is a slight peak towards end. Means higher age group, greater than 54 age group, there is slight increase. That is also expected because now some of them might be retired and hence they might use music as a company, etc. Okay, and even among the professional musicians, then amateur musicians, that is participants who had music training and participants without music training, you can see these are bar plots. These bar plots represent the scores, and these stars represent whether the differences between the scores are significant. So in mood regulation, there are no significant differences. Almost every group can use music up to equal amount for mood regulation, and in sensory motor is also fine. But the most important differences are in musical seeking behavior. Of course, artists have to be on their toes. They have to know the latest music because they are going to be in that field. Next rank comes that of amateur artists, and last is the non-music people. So there is a significant difference. Similarly, in emotional evocation, participants with music training, whether they are amateurs or whether they are professional, there is no difference. So 1 to 2 there is no such bracket, but 2 to 3 there is, and 1 to 3 there is. So non-music people who have not learned music seriously, officially, so they have comparatively less experiences of emotionally connecting with music, whereas people with music have more connection. Remember, mood regulation is different than emotional evocation. Okay, so such interesting things can be studied via factor analysis. So even here they have given These are scores of individual people, and they have plotted them on a star plot. Why on a star plot? So that they can express all 5 variables together, all 5 factors together. So here, what are the interpretations from this graph? So this outer pentagon, this denotes the highest value of each variable, and they have joined them. Innermost pentagon, the lowest value has not been recorded, and this grayish pentagon, that kind of gives bands, okay, confidence bands, and the dotted pentagon is average for each factor, okay, and the arrow kind of thing going out from the center, they are values of individual person. So this first person, he has higher than average values for musical seeking behavior, social reward, and emotional evocation. And even in mood regulation and sensory motor, he has higher than average values. Okay, but at least in these two, he is in the bands, whereas in first 3 cases, he has exceptionally high values. Okay. On the other hand, person B scores very less on all 5 factors. So he is probably a person who hates music. Okay, so he is significantly below the expected things. So this lower boundary of confidence interval, this person is even inside that. On the other hand, this third person in musical seeking behavior is quite ahead. Social reward, he is almost at the average. Sensory motor, he is much below expected range. Mood regulation is again average. Emotional evocation is more. So probably this is a person who has had some sort of musical training, but somehow cannot connect with it other than that. Okay. So such types of interesting insights can be drawn via factor analysis. So I would share this document also with you. You can try to go through it and understand it more. Okay. Thank you.